I'm in the mood for a nice drinking lager, and maybe this beer will be the one that saves me. Hello and welcome to another video on JD's Booze Reviews, and today is going to be the day we're going to be trying Wonderwall Lager, a 4% lager from Sunlit Minds Brewery over in Bedford. Not a brewery I've heard of before, and I've seen this beer a lot in Aldi for quite a while now, probably since all the hype around the Oasis reunion tour, which is probably why it's called Wonderwall, to capitalise on that. So whether this is a Aldi brand, I'm not sure. It doesn't specify that it is, it just says it's brewed and canned by Sunlit Minds Brewery. But yeah, I've seen this in for a while and it's dropped down in price, so I thought let's give it a go and see if it's any good or not, because it was quite pricey when it came into Aldi initially. Whereas the price that I bought it now, like £3 for a pack of 4, is a little bit more of a punt that I'm willing to take. So let's get this poured into a glass and see if I've, wasted the past sort of 6-8 months and I could have been enjoying a really beautiful lager. Let's see how we go. So yeah, that's a pretty clean looking lager, if I do not say so myself. Yeah, some nice carbonation in there, nice and clear. Yeah, no real issue there really. And not a bad aroma. Smells lager-like. That sort of sweetness that you get with a lager is definitely there. Along with a little bit of sort of the, I wouldn't quite say maltiness, but that definite definite sort of like grainy smell. It's hard to explain, but I'll try. It's definitely a little bit like sort of grassy, or like straw, that kind of smell really. But yeah, kind of not too dissimilar to many a lager I have smelt. I mean, that's the good thing with lagers really, is there's not a lot to them. There's not a lot of ingredients. They're usually fairly straightforward in the hops. I mean, there's some breweries that are doing some wacky stuff with lagers, like Don Zoco, that is basically a lager brewery. But unless you've got like a really weird and wacky person behind the helm, they're usually all fairly straightforward. But yeah, that is a nice smelling lager. Yeah, that is maybe where the positives end. I got a really weird first taste. It was kind of like, well, I say weird first taste. It was kind of like nothing. There was nothing at all on that first taste. If you let it sit in your mouth for a little bit, there's a nice bitterness there, a nice bitter flavour. Quite not hoppy, but I suppose it is probably the hops that's giving the bitterness. Yeah, pretty decent. Bitter, slightly sweet. Definitely smelt sweeter on the aroma. But on the aftertaste, that just fizzles out into absolutely nothing. As soon as you swallow, you just get absolutely nothing on that flavour profile. Nothing on the taste. It's a very, very bland beer. Yeah, just absolutely nothing to it. Just fades. Just like slightly beery water. And that's probably only because of the sort of bitter taste I get on once it's in my mouth. But it fades very quickly. I mean, obviously a lot of the taste is in your mouth, of course it is. But a lot of it's to do with the aroma as well. There's still a little bit of the aroma. But yeah, you do sometimes on you need some nice aftertaste. To make you want to keep going back for the beer. And this just turns into a watery nothingness. And yeah, literally I'm like, I can't even taste that beer and when I just tasted it, 10 seconds ago? Yeah, that is very disappointing. So it sounds like maybe my guesses were correct at maybe holding off until it dropped down in price. Right, I can imagine if you were having a barbecue and drinking this, you'd be all right because you're not really focusing on what you're drinking. I mean, lagers are kind of like that as anyway. You don't really have to think too hard with a lager. You just enjoy it if you get a good one. But this just, yeah, it's got nothing that's making me want to go back for another sip in the glass, which is, yeah, not a good sign. Yeah, that is a very, very disappointing beer in that glass. Yeah, definitely not. I would not pick this 4-pack up again. I mean, it's drinkable, but I'm enjoying drinking it. Not particularly. Is that going back to what I said about lagers just being sort of a deal with, drink it and don't really think about it? Yeah, kind of. But should you at least be like, I want another can of that. I want to crack open another can right now, finish this one, let's get on to the next one. Am I getting that with this? Not really. So yeah, not the beer that's going to save me from my thirst quenching quandary. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, see my next reviews when they drop, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.